Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. We're on ESPN2, Tony, the Deuce today. But because we're professionals, we're going to give it full ESPN level effort, right? Tony!
Whatever.
That is not the attitude.
Really?
You know what you like?
No.
You like the Houston Rockets last night.
I was lulled to sleep.
They yawned through the first quarter as well.
Did I lull myself to sleep, as their coach says
Somebody
they
lulled
did?
them to sleep. Maybe we lulled them to sleep by picking no series to play, huh?
I'm going to stand by that. You wait and see. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Sixers and Celtics are back at it. The NHL suspends the Capitol, and Duke adds a fifth five-star recruit. But we begin today with the single most stunning win in the NBA playoffs so far. Houston losing to Utah in Houston last night.
Stunner.
And not on some buzzer beater. No, Utah won this one convincingly. Houston coach Mike D'Antoni said his team was, quote, lulled to sleep, unquote. Wilbon, does this game have you reevaluating how this series will play out?
Yeah, Tony.
Really?
But not necessarily the result. How it will play out, yes. I mean, like you, we should start this segment with an apology to the Utah Jazz and people who followed them because we dismissed them. We were dismissive of them, and that turns out to be wrong. Because now that they've won this game in Houston, I fully expect Utah. Donovan Mitchell is a wonder.
Yeah.
The kid goes into the point guard position because his point guard ain't there, and he gets 11 assists, and he plays that position as a rookie in this league. So I think that Utah will win a game at home. And I now think we have a 6-game series at least with that one win at home.
Right, so I'm not going to apologize.
You
because
should.
I'm not going to.
Why not?
Because I picked Houston in 4, and now I'm picking Houston in 5.
Well, you got that wrong.
And I'm going to give Utah all the credit in the world.
Right.
They won that game. I personally think that's it. I joined last night 300 million other Americans in that I could not name the starting 5 of the Utah Jazz. I could have given you Rudy Gobert.
Donovan Mitchell?
I could have given
Ingles?
you Donovan. I never heard of Joe Ingles until last night.
Joe Ingles is one of the best three-point shooters in the league.
Then I found out that he made 7 threes, and then when he spoke into a microphone, I found out he wasn't from here.
Come on,
he was
where
either
you
from
been?
England or Australia. So now I can't give you the other 2 starters or anybody on the bench. I love the fact that they won.
Ricky Rubio would be a starter.
But he's not playing. I'm not going to turn around like no, 5 games. That's it.
I'm going 6, Tony, and I don't know if something's wrong with the Rockets. I don't want to overreact. The Rockets had a bad game. It happens. Happens even in a series. Short series, long series. It happens. But it was the sleepy nature that their coach, Mike D'Antoni, referred to, which says, wait a minute, are you not taking these people seriously?
Maybe they didn't.
Because they just beat OKC.
No, maybe they
beat a team with 3 Hall of Famers. They can give you a match.
One of them can't play, and the other one, playoff P, was conspicuously absent.
I'm just saying, okay, there you go. You're dismissing Utah because you don't know them. You're dismissing them.
I don't know them. I'm not dismissing them. I'm saying Houston is better. But you know who's laughing right now? Golden State. Golden State is saying, you see, this opens up that can of worms again that Houston is an underperforming playoff team. That is
what
Mike
D'Antoni was as worried about that as anything else?
You don't. Okay, I think they're going to win 3 in a row.
3 in a row? I think they'll win the series.
Okay.
Let's talk NHL playoffs, Tony. Specifically, your Washington Capitals.
Mine. 2-part question. The first part, do I think they got it right? I think 3 is fair because, as you said, he has intent and he has priors. So
I'd have gone the rest of the series. I'd have gone the rest. As long as the series lasts, Wilson would be out.
You could go to 2, and that would be okay. But 3 does not strike me as extreme because what it allows Wilson to do if there is a Game 7, he's not lost for the whole series. He's allowed back on Game 7.
Right.
Do I think it hurts the Capitals? I was watching Barry Melrose today, who has turned around a little bit on the Capitals. A little bit, really, like a 180 on the Capitals because now he really likes them. And he said this is going to hurt in particular because he plays on the same line as Alexander Ovechkin. And Alexander Ovechkin has been great in the playoffs. So what chemistry they have will clearly be disturbed. So, yes, I think it will hurt. But I still think the Capitals are going to win.
Didn't the Capitals have this low many years ago with Dale
Hunter when he smashed the guy in the back?
He got suspended for like 20 games, didn't he?
20, yes.
And people just went crazy.
Well,
20's a bit much, but I would have gone rest of the series minimum for this, Tony.
I'm good with this.
He broke a dude's jaw.
I understand.
And he's had
that was the result
in the preseason.
Yeah. No, he's
preseason.
Again,
extreme
intent and priors. Intent and priors.
Wow.
Which you have to figure in. People say, oh, nothing that happened before should be figured in. No, that's not true. It should be figured in. But what we're not doing here, not to get carried away, we're not talking about missing Ovechkin or Crosby. The integrity of the teams is
Wilson's
still
a guy who seems to get under Pittsburgh's skin as much as Ovechkin's goal scoring. And the Capitals need that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he gets under Pittsburgh's skin as much, the Capitals' skin as much as Pittsburgh's skin as much as he just lays them out.
He does.
That's what he's done.
Yeah.
And they hate him in the arena, which is good. That's fine.
How about that snickering, by the way? That snickering couldn't have helped him on video.
No.
You think with the league office?
No. Albert Pujols had 2 hits last night to get him to 2,998. One of those hits was his 620th home run. In the same game, Pujols' teammate Mike Trout also hit a home run. That was his 212th. Trout is generally considered the greatest player in the game right now. But Wilbon, who do you think will go down as the greater player, Pujols or Trout?
Well, Tony, Pujols has had a complete career, a complete all-time great career. Trout has had 6+ years.
Yeah.
There are other guys who have had 6+ years, and they don't have 15 or 18 like Albert Pujols. I'm thinking of Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
I'm going to go cross sport. I'm thinking of my friend Grant Hill. Grant Hill was LeBron James after 6 or 7 years. Statistically, he was.
Yes, but he hadn't had the championship.
Neither did LeBron after 6 or 7 years.
I thought
didn't have any
got one in
championships.
Miami.
Maybe in his 7th year, but, you know.
Right.
But the point is...
Well, Jordan didn't have one in the 6 years.
That's right. Took him his 7th.
Yeah.
So my point is, Tony, 6 or 7 years is not what Albert Pujols has done. Albert Pujols has strung it out, baby. He's had a long career, and right now, the answer is Albert Pujols.
So I'm going to go to the glasses because I'm going to cite some statistics. And I'm going to say to you that I want to say Mike Trout because I am interested in shiny objects, and Albert Pujols is no longer a shiny object.
But he was.
You know, and Trout is a great fielder. I don't think you'd say that about Pujols.
He won two Gold Gloves.
But I think we tend to forget how great Pujols was when he was Trout's age, although we don't know how long ago that was because we don't know his age anymore.
Stop with the age.
After 6 full seasons, Pujols, these are his numbers. Batting average of .332, 42 homers, 126 RBI a year.
Average. That's average.
Yeah, as great as Trout is, 309, 33, and 92. So you have to say Pujols.
Yes,
you have to.
Yes, again, this is Don Mattingly had better numbers, and he had 5 Gold Gloves.
But it's not to say that Trout won't. It's a long hill to climb, but maybe he climbs.
But Pujols already has 2 championships, and he was the best player on 2 championship teams, and Trout doesn't have that.
The thing that makes it prohibitive at the moment is the 600 and the 3,000. I mean, that is...
You only got 3 guys there.
Just
4 guys total.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And those guys are not named Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, or Stan Musial. Like, all-time great. No, they didn't get it. So, yeah. So at the moment, it's Pujols.
It's Pujols. Yes. Major League Baseball is set to announce next week that the Yankees and Red Sox will play 2 games at London's Olympic Stadium in June next year. The Associated Press is reporting that. These will be the first regular season MLB games ever in Europe, and the Sox will be the home team for both games, meaning it's the Red Sox who are giving up 2 games at Fenway. Watch out, Tony. This is straying quite a bit from I-95, but I'm sure you'll tell America it's a fine idea, right?
Well, I was told that there was a bill in Parliament to change the M1 to I-95 for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Look, this is not the longest trip in the world. New York to London, Boston to London is not much longer, if longer at all, than Boston to Seattle or New York to Oakland.
It's not that trip. It's the cultural trip.
You're getting $60,000. Each player's getting an additional $60,000 for 2 games.
Anybody going to care?
And that's, well, a lot of fringe players.
In Europe.
Oh, well,
in London.
So here's the point that I'm going to make. I sit here all the time and I say I don't really understand why they play NFL games in London.
Right.
And I don't really understand if they were to play NBA games in London. And I don't really understand why you would play baseball games in London because it's not like they're going to put a franchise there. So I don't really get it.
Well, Tony, I
don't think it's terrible. I just don't get it.
Everybody wants to be global. I mean, that's the word in all cultures today, global. And soccer is global. Basketball is largely global. Pro football is not global at all.
Not at all.
It is national.
Not at all. Baseball's
got an international presence, much more of one than the NFL.
Yes.
And they're trying to stretch that. I just wonder if anybody in London cares about the Yanks and the Sox.
If you looked at this, well, the NFL games sell out, and nobody cares about them. If you look at this from the standpoint of ownership, the Red Sox ownership owns a soccer team in Liverpool.
But don't the Yankees?
They have a piece of
Manchester
City. They have a piece of Manchester City. From an ownership standpoint, I sort of get it. But again, you'd have to tell me, what is the end game?
Jersey sales.
What's the end game?
Merchandise.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. You see how many soccer jerseys kids are wearing over here now?
Yeah.
And they played all those games over here when you thought people didn't care.
So you think in Europe they're going to wear baseball Okay, maybe.
That's the hope.
Duke lost all 5 of its starters from this past season's team, and to replace them, Duke has signed 5 different 5-star players, including the number 1, number 2, and number 3 rated freshman. Duke got its 5th 5-star player when Joey Baker opted to graduate high school early. Wilbon, with this crop, a current-day Fab 5, would anything less than a national championship be a disappointment for Duke?
No more or no less than it always is. I mean, the nature of recruiting these kids doesn't mean anything. They recruit All-Americans every year. The ratings of these kids are phonied up because as soon as somebody decides, just discloses they're going to Kentucky or Duke, they get bumped up in the ratings. A kid who might have been 142 back in January all of a sudden becomes top 5. So the ratings are phony.
I'm not sure about that.
Mike expects to win
the 1, 2, 3
every
ratings
year,
are legit.
and there's no greater chance of that than Kentucky winning or Villanova or North Carolina. The Duke doesn't have a better chance than them.
I'm gonna be more positive than you in this regard. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think there's a miracle here. Teams with all freshmen.
You're being more positive than me by saying that?
More direct.
Okay.
Just more direct. I mean, I don't think Calipari's titles were with all freshmen. Michigan did not win this thing.
One of Calipari's was with all freshmen.
All freshmen starters?
I thought.
All freshman starters? I didn't know that.
Maybe there was one sophomore in there.
You know, I think it's maybe by March they'll know each other's names. But what this points out to me is the terrible sin of the one and done. Because you are renting space in college. You know, it's a parking space to you. You have no allegiance to the school, no allegiance to the other players, and I don't think you can win.
I'm going to give Mike Krzyzewski credit for something. He's hastening something.
The end of one and done.
Yes, something that he didn't like originally anyway. And so it's almost undermining it. Because by 2020, one and done's gone. It's going to be gone.
The NBA should make it done now.
But they should make it done now. I hate when I hear NBA people say, well, it's going to take a couple of years. Why? Just decree. It's done. But they're going to do this. But Duke's fortunes don't only rest with these players. They'll have new great players every year.
No, Duke's a great program, one of the many great programs. But I don't. Do you think they'll win? I'm saying I don't think they'll win.
I think their chances of winning are no more or no less than they've been the last 10 years.
And they've won twice. Right? They've won twice. Let's take a break. Coming up, how are the Celtics? The Sixers and the Celtics are back on the floor tonight, and to help us understand how Boston is defying so many expectations.
Including yours.
Including mine. Let's welcome in Celtics radio analyst and 1981 NBA Finals MVP, Cedric Maxwell. And let's start with this. Why were the Celtics so effective against the Sixers in Game 1, and do you expect that to continue tonight?
Well, I'm hoping that happens, but I tell you what happened was they decided that if Joel Embiid got 50 points, they were not letting the J.J. Redicks of the world right now try to beat them. The Celtics have done a good job right now of saying, okay, if you have all these other ancillary players who can knock down shots and who are big-time shooters, if we can stay on them, then we're going to play Joel Embiid one-on-one. Most teams don't do that. They collapse, and other people get involved.
Let's talk about Terry Rozier for a second, another revelation, Cedric, to a lot of people outside New England. Isaiah Thomas played great in this system last year, and, of course, Kyrie did, and now Rozier is. I mean, I know this is a players' league, but system has something to do with this, does it not?
Kyrie who? Who are you talking about? Oh. You know, Terry Rozier played very well. I think the system does have something to do with it. Brad Stevens is giving these guys the ultimate green light. They shoot the basketball. They understand the nuances of the game. I think the biggest thing about Terry Rozier is getting opportunities. Look who he's learned from. Kyrie Irving, as you said, he was able to do what Isaiah able to be on his tutelage. So if you have great players and you mimic them and you learn what they know and you are effective at doing it and you have skills, hey, you can do a lot of things in this system.
Let me get to Brad Stevens, who you mentioned, who gets a tremendous amount of credit for the Celtics' resurgence. You played in the league, and you watch this team all the time. We know he is effective. Tell us why he's so effective.
Well, I think the millennium players, he understands these guys. You know, the days of the people screaming and yelling and at players, that's kind of over now. This is a new generation of players. Brad Stevens is a no-nonsense guy, but he understands the game and the players. I tell you what, to a man, They drink the Kool-Aid. They understand that, hey, he's going to play me. He's going to put me in the best position. They're well coached. They understand the plays. This is a team that is well run. And to have so many pieces and you continuously lose them, that to me is amazing. Brad Stevens lost essentially a couple of people who are all-stars. You lose Kyrie Irving, and now you end up thinking about all the things that Gordon Hayward was going to bring to the table. You lose those two pieces, you think the season is done. It wasn't for Brad Stevens' team.
I want to follow up on that, Cedric, for a second, because as great as Brad Stevens has been, undeniably, I think the guy getting overlooked in this, in a way, is Danny Ainge.
I thought you were going to say
Horford. We'll get to him. But Danny Ainge, Cedric, picked these guys. He's got guys who will accept coaching and guys who are a lot more talented than people thought when they came into the league, like Jaylen Brown.
There's no doubt about that. I think if you look at it, let's look at the one thing that happened last year, that you go down in the draft to get Jason Tatum. Folks hasn't even played, and I hope the young man gets an opportunity from Philadelphia. But you go down to the third pick, you're able to pick that young man, and you get a first-round draft choice with him. That, to me, is you already robbed the bank, and then you go back with your mask off, and you say, I want more money. So I think that's what Brad Stevens and I think Danny Ainge has done with his team. He's effectively right now gone out, and I'm not going to use the word fleeced, but he's got the Celtics in great position right now with all the free agents, all the guys who have been there. These guys Danny Ainge has done a tremendous job.
All right, so let me get you out of here on this. And I'm disqualified because I picked Milwaukee to beat Boston. And I've watched Boston win every home game that they have had so far. But I also think that the two best players on the court are very likely Simmons and Embiid. So I'm somewhat skeptical. Overall, what chance do you give the Celtics to actually win this series? It's only 1-0 now, to win the whole thing.
Well, you know, I think that the key is going to be the second game. To me, whoever wins tonight wins the series because I think all the pressure reverts back now on Philadelphia. This is the team that Stephen A. Smith and all the pundits have already crowned, you know, the team that right now is going to the finals. Kevin Hart's going to be in the building tonight. So that's going to be another 3 or 4 people. But the Boston Celtics team, again, that wins tonight's game is the team to me that's going to advance and going to play Cleveland or Toronto.
Thank you so much for being with us,
appreciate
Cedric.
it, man.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen.
You can follow Cedric on Twitter at @TheRealCedricMaxwell. Let's take one last break, but still to come, is it really time for Ichiro to hang it up?
And Jason Witten chooses between the Cowboys and the Boots.
You see the series that way, too, as
yes,
winner tonight?
the winner tonight wins the series.
So Philly wins.
I'm glad that Cedric feels that way because he's got greater credentials than me.
Boston has not lost at home in the playoffs.
No, they haven't.
Happy time, people. Happy 26th birthday, Jerick McKinnon. Who is he?
That's what I'm going to ask.
He was a running back with the Vikings who had a pretty good year. 570 yards rushing, 51 catches for 421 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's good. But recently, the 49ers made him the 4th highest paid running back in all of football for next season, behind only Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and LaShawn McCoy. Now, we think John Lynch is brilliant because of Jimmy Garoppolo, but will he still be brilliant with Jerick McKinnon?
Well, TV executives must think so, too. They've given the 49ers all of the national TV prime spots they can give them, coming off nothing.
Well, the last 6 games.
5 games.
Not so happy anniversary, Dallas Mavericks. On this day 11 years ago, the Mavs lost to the Warriors to become the first #1 seed to lose to an 8 in a 7-game series. That led to the embarrassment of Dirk Nowitzki receiving his MVP award after his team was bounced. But Nowitzki and Dallas got their redemption a few years later, beating LeBron, Wade, and Bosh in Miami. Amazingly, the soon-to-be 40-year-old Nowitzki is still the face of the Mavericks.
I find myself, because Dirk Nowitzki is so worthy a player and such a nice guy, I wish he was on a team that was more relevant. You know, that's what I wish. He's happy in Dallas, I guess.
Happy trails to Yoenis Cespedes' diamond necklace. He broke it sliding into second base last night. Got so angry that he threw the necklace onto the dirt, scattering diamonds everywhere. And he left them there as he went back to the dugout. The next time the Mets were on the field, the shortstop picked up the stones, which I don't think are real diamonds. Because if they were real diamonds, Cespedes would have been down on his knees with a magnifying glass.
First of all, why doesn't Major League Baseball, like the NBA, I know, just say no jewelry?
No.
You can't wear this stuff on the field. Get rid of it. Make a rule.
No errors today. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Ichiro is done for the season. He's moving into a front office role with the Mariners. Does that make sense?
Well, he's hitting 205. His playing days are over. Just why not go into the front office, period? The Mariners lifted James Paxton after 7 innings and 16 strikeouts. Should they have let him go for 20?
Protect the arm. You don't want a guy pitching 150
He didn't have to go to
pitches.
135.
Not in May.
Like
The Suns hired Jazz assistant Igor Kokoskov, I hope, as their new head coach. Does that make sense to you?
Tony, he's been an assistant for like 18 years in the league. Clippers, Pistons, Suns, Cavaliers, Magic, Jazz. He's earned it. Jason Witten is officially retiring from the Cowboys to join the Monday Night Football booth. Are you surprised?
I'm a little bit, but he's a Cowboy. You look at Michael Irvin and Tony Romo and Troy Aikman and Darryl Johnson. They've all been great at this.
Yeah, yeah.
Last one, Cavs-Raptors game 2 tonight. Do you like the Cavs again?
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to pick the Raptors to win this game.
Really?
And then we'll see where we go from there.
We're out of time. Try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcast.
Michael Dorff of Richmond, Virginia. Shout out.
Would you get free?
We went to high school together and camp a long time ago.